we're moving on to stage 2 of our seascape painting. We've completed a sketch. We've been thinking about the composition. So stage 2 is the block in. That means that I simply lay out, very simply, all the big shapes. I don't get into any details, but I just lay in the major shapes of my composition at this point. So I've just got a few colours put out, not too many at this stage, and I keep my cool colours on one side of my palette and my warm colours on another. I've got indigo, ultramarine blue, cerulean blue, and viridian green, and I've got burnt sienna and white. And I've just got a small tub of my odour-free liquid. This one is Zest It, and some paper towels to wipe my brush and clean my knife with. Over here to the side I've got another dish of Zest It that's for cleaning my brushes. So I'm going to start just by dipping my brush into the liquid, into the Zest It. I'm going to pull down some ultramarine blue and make it liquid enough to flow off my brush. And I just want to get the big shapes in now, so I'm going to start with my horizon, way up here. And then looking at the wave, and we already consider that it needs to be about a third down and about a third in, so that wave is going to be breaking around here. I'm keeping it very loose at this stage. You can see I'm actually holding my brush like a tennis racket rather than like a pen or a pencil. And I'm standing far back enough to just get some nice big shapes coming in like that, as you can see. There's the sky, okay. And I just keep on dipping my brush into the liquid as I need to, so this keeps flowing. I'm just using ultramarine blue as my drawing colour because in most seascapes the blue will melt into your composition. I'm coming in now with the rocks coming in from here. And the water will be pouring up. I'm really just sort of feeling what's happening more than trying to do in any way a kind of tight or rigid kind of drawing. Then this rock we decided is going to move in to about here. The water's going to be coming around it. And then I'm bringing in another rock here to kind of act as a balance to the rocks that are on this side of the painting. And I want this to be a directional diagonal coming into my wave, and this one too to be directing, pulling the eye into where my centre of interest is going to be. So my first marks, you can see, are very loose. So once I'm satisfied that I've got everything more or less where it needs to be, my next step is going to be putting a very thin base colour over everything. I'm going to hide that white and then build it up from there in layers. So starting with the sky, I'm going to bring a little cerulean into this mix. It is a clear blue sky in the picture, however I sometimes like a little bit more drama or movement in the sky, and I might introduce some clouds instead. But for now I'm just going to get this in as a basic blue sky colour. The sea in the background is reflecting that sky. It's deeper. I'm going to use more of my ultramarine, putting in a little bit of indigo here to darken it. And again, I'm just going to go right on top of this. going to introduce some viridian and more indigo with that blue for the darker wall of the wave that's rising here. And all my strokes are following what's happening here. So the background sea is flat, the wave is rising, and I've got to in some way express that with my arm. So I'm leaving out the white part at the moment. I'm coming back in below the broken wave, adding a little bit more viridian to that mix. I'm coming in here. Again, feeling the flow of this water coming in off that wave. I'm going to add more just liquid, my zested, to this. I'm going to let it kind of pour down like this, to start to get a fluid kind of energy happening here. And even though there's all this white foam on the water, I need to first paint the water colour, the colour of the water that's underneath the foam, which here is a kind of a greenish grey. I'm just adding a little bit more grey to that mix here in the foreground. And I'm just going to wipe a little bit off where I want to kind of keep it for the rock colour that's going to be there. And I'm also, even with the tissue, going to feel some of this foam that's coming off the water, like that. And I'm going to go find my gloves that I've got for them. So the next thing I'll do is bring out the brown paint and start to introduce the rocks, just to set them in there where they're going to be, and make sure that they're sitting well and balancing each other right. So I'm just going to bring in some of my burnt sienna into the same mix. So it's darkened a little bit by the blue-green that's already there. And I got this first rock coming out about here. And noticing I'm still holding my brush really loose. And I'm just getting a feel for where this rock is, how it's moving out, but being broken up by the streams of water coming over it. And the rock that's here. And one in the corner here too. I'm going to just start to introduce the breaking wave here. So the foam is broken up into the foam in light, where the light is hitting, and the foam is in shadow. With the light behind that wave, the lower part of that wall of foam is all in shadow. So I'm going to start with that, and that is going to be my blue, a little bit of my grey, and here's where I'm going to introduce white for the first time. A little bit more blue in that. And I'm going to start where that foam is here. And with a separate clean brush, I'm going to reach straight into the white and go in for where the white light is hitting on this, mixing it with the blue that's already there. And wiping the brush, coming back for some more. So with that, I can kind of say I've got everything positioned in the canvas. I need to stop now and judge. Does everything feel? This wave will be bigger because it's going to go over that background sea, and these feel in good relation to each other here, and the flow that's coming through them, and the water that will come through and around this rock. So for this stage,